see it.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt, attorney in Texas and also licensed in New Mexico. And today I'm talking about the Corporate Transparency Act. And a fun fact is that on December 15th, 1791, the Bill of Rights was ratified. So we celebrate the Bill of Rights this week also. But this is the fourth segment, and I like to talk about legacy.
And now, it's time for the Talk Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy? Sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm.
So you probably remember that I'm an attorney at Marquardt Law Firm, and attorneys at Marquardt Law Firm focus on business and estate law, including last wills, living trusts, and tax-protected inheritance plans. New businesses and old businesses which might have issues with corporations, contracts, LLCs, limited partnerships, and we can represent those who are facing problems from lack of planning, like in district court, county court, or probate court. And because all of that stuff centers around a person's legacy, or at least that's why I do the things I do, because I want my kids to learn something from me now while I'm alive, and also after I'm gone. I hope they remember all of the great things that I did for them and for the community and the world. I like to talk about legacy. I like to encourage you to think about your legacy. How are people going to remember you, and what impact are you going to leave on the community? Or maybe even one person. Now, if you're parents, you probably hope to impact your children or your grandchildren. Or if you're not parents, if you don't have children, you probably have people that you have mentored, and you probably want them to remember you as doing a good job, or helping them get through something, or helping them get established. Those are all legacies, how we're remembered by those who are left behind. Today, I want to talk about legacy in this way. Some of you are going to be visiting loved ones from out of town. Either they're coming to visit you, or you're going to visit somebody who you only see infrequently because maybe you live in another state or another nation or country. And so it's been a while since you saw these loved ones. What I want you to do is ask them if they have talked to their estate planning attorney about the federal estate tax law from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, and how it's expiring at the end of 2025. Stay with me, because I have a strategy here. Because I have a lot of family members, friends, and clients who get real nervous and anxious about talking to their family about estate planning. They don't want to ask, do you have a will? They don't want to ask, are your affairs in order? Because they're scared. They're scared that they're going to be perceived as like the prodigal son, that you're just wanting to get your inheritance early. Or they're scared that it just makes them uncomfortable to talk about death and dying. And they don't want their loved ones to think that they're thinking about death and dying. So an easy way to get through that barrier is just say, did you know that the federal estate tax law from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act expires at the end of 2025? Then just wait a second or two. Let them respond. Then ask, have you spoken to your estate planning attorney about that? and then wait a couple of seconds and let them respond. And here's my theory, that your loved ones are going to say something that helps you discover whether or not they've done any planning at all. Because I think if I asked anyone in my family that question, it would spark a conversation about, well, I did a will 20 years ago, or I haven't spoken to my estate planning attorney in a few years or a few months, or I just saw him last week, last month, or last year. Any response that they give you is going to be good information. And then you can follow up with things like, well, I have my affairs in order. I'd really like to know that your affairs are in order also, because I want for things to be organized, and I want for things to in a very timely and organized manner, so that there's no fighting, no conflict. Attorneys at Marquardt Law Firm try to empower clients to tax efficiently protect and preserve assets, reduce family conflict, and benefit from all types of government benefits and laws and tax savings. So reducing family conflict is a big part of estate planning. And some bankers and investment advisors, financial planners, estate planning to them is just making sure that you've designated a beneficiary. Well, yes, that's the easy part, but the difficult part is having these tough conversations. Another reason that you want to ask whether your loved one's affairs are in order is to make some mental notes about their memory and cognition. Is it as good as it was the last time you visited, or has it gotten worse? Those are things to make mental notes of, because you probably care about your loved ones and you want to make sure that they're doing good, and you're concerned about their well-being and their health. And just statistics, as people age, the statistics tell us that we're going to become disabled or incapacitated before we die. So there are other important questions to address about how things are going to be taken care of before we die, if we become disabled or incapacitated. So that's our legacy spotlight. I know it's not very upbeat to have that type of conversation, but it's necessary. It's our responsibility to our loved ones to have our affairs in order. I had a friend that died tragically in a car accident, and he didn't have life insurance. He left a surviving spouse and several minor children. If you're married, if you have minor children, it's your responsibility to take care of them if you're not going to be earning an income anymore. So that's my soapbox for today. I do want to talk more about the Corporate Transparency Act, just in case you're tuning in at the end of our show today. The Corporate Transparency Act is something that was passed back in 2001, but it's just now becoming effective because it took some time for the Department of the Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network to develop a system for registering law-abiding businesses. And so you don't have to register until after January 1st. But I want you to know about it, because there's so many millions and tens of millions of businesses that have been filed last year, last month, 10 years ago, 50 years ago, that are going to have to comply with this regulation to register who the beneficial owners of a reporting organization are. And if you need more information about that, you can go to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network website, or you can contact an attorney. I'm sure that there's going to be lots of people talking about this. I'm going to be doing seminars about this. I'm going to be doing some special YouTube videos. I'm just trying to get out the word, because what happens if you don't comply? Well, you can be fined $500 a day, up to $10,000. You can be imprisoned for up to 2 years. Now, here's something that I've been mulling over, thinking over, is what happens if these criminals, these traffickers, these money launderers and terrorists don't comply? Are they going to have to pay $500 a day, up to $10,000? And if it's a terrorist organization like Hamas that already gets billions of dollars from the federal government, what incentive do they have to register? $10,000? Are you kidding me? They already get billions. And so they would just gladly just pay the fine. And they probably have some fall guy that would go to jail for them for 2 years. The only people that are going to comply with this law are law-abiding citizens, just like everything else that the federal government does to try and combat crime that only puts a burden on law-abiding citizens. I think they're going to find the same things. Maybe they'll catch a few stupid criminals, and I don't know what impact that'll have. But let me know whether this makes you upset that you have to file with the federal government. Let me know if you think it's necessary to combat money laundering, terrorism, and trafficking. But since we're coming to the end of the show, you'll have to email me your opinion at host@talklawradio.com. That's HOST@talklawradio.com. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make my Christmas a merry one by allowing me to wake up on Christmas morning with 1,000 subscribers. That way, I can stream live on YouTube as well as Facebook. And that way I can help you discover more legal issue blind spots by listening to me talk about the law on the radio, podcasts, Facebook, and YouTube. Also, you can go to my website, Talk Law Radio, and search for previous episodes about other laws that I talk about lots of things. Next Sunday, you'll be hearing about a court case of Cox versus State of Texas, and so that's an interesting abortion case. But for now, I'm Todd Marquardt. I'll talk to you later.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.